The second most favorite spirit amongst whiskey makers is gin. Now, Brianna is very much on the fence about gin. She's not sure she even likes it at all. So we called in the world's fanciest man, Jeremy Grigg, to come give us an introductory tour and show us what are the flavor profiles that accessible gins are capable of. And hopefully, Brianna...
Did that change your world?
Oh my God!
Is that yummy?
That's amazing!
Oh, I love it! I want you to taste the root of America's 20th century demise right here. So. You look like halfway between a Shakespearean narrator and a pedophile. It's a wonderful...
We have, once again, one of our favorite people, Jeremy Grigg. Thank you so much for coming, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Gin.
Gin is great fun. Like whiskey, it has emerged from being pretty much regarded as the least cool thing in the world.
Yeah.
The way that gin is produced now is absolutely beautiful for the modern palate. And we have choices and flavors that were never available when I was a tadpole. If you were to look at where the hot spot of modern gin fabulousness is, it's Scotland.
Oh.
Yeah,
What?
there's this huge proliferation of gin distilleries in Scotland. I think there's over 100. We might even drink one or two of them
I'm
today.
very familiar. The one from Islay?
From Islay.
So
Alright.
I asked you for a lineup of gins, but things that you think are good representation.
A little showcase.
Yeah. Then we ran out and got almost exactly what you asked for. Yeah, Whiskey Tribe, we're accurate-ish.
Ish. Yeah, so it's like I'm
Heavy-ish.
Jew-ish. Yes.
How do we start? How do you want to guide us through this
Oh,
process?
well, let's start by thinking about what gin is. This is, if you were to think in very loose terms, it's herby vodka.
Most
right?
people don't realize gin, it's 99% vodka. You're basically taking that neutral spirit through a
That's right.
process of infusing
and
with
you're
cannabis.
running it through this magical little clump of things. The essence of it, to be called gin, is juniper. It's a species of plant, and there's one type of juniper that's been overwhelmingly used for gin. But since everyone's getting frisky and creative these days, other species of juniper are starting to sneak in.
interesting, yeah.
And when you had gin as a kid, you would have had a spirit that was really, really, really so solid with juniper, you would have gone, oh, that's nasty, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
That is what you would call, generally speaking, a London-style gin. And some of those are really, really nice, but modern styles have the juniper in there that they back it off and they play with a bunch of other flavors that I thought we would explore today. Can I pull a gin out?
You pull
Yes.
out anything you want.
So-
look at me in the face. You pull out anything.
Well, I won't pull out anything in the spirit of good taste with your loving audience, but this particular little beverage, it's good that you got this in a way because pretty much everyone in the civilized world can find Tanqueray. At the end, I expect all of this delicacy to be cast to the winds. Smell that juniper, and the other thing you're looking for here is a little bit of citrus.
Lemon for me, not an orange.
That's right. It's going to be more lemony, grapefruity.
Bright, crisp, fresh. These aren't like heavy, buttery, savory flavors. These are like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Well, that's actually the fun thing about gin. And by the way, gin is pretty much the reason why the angry middle-aged women of America moved for prohibition in the first place. Because people like us got so friendly and funky with gin that it was basically turning the country into a toilet. I want you to taste the root of America's 20th century demise right here. So let's just take a few drops of water as we would with a whiskey. All right, so you taste like you've just bitten into a pine tree. That's the juniper flavor.
Okay.
That's sort of, it's a little bit oily, a little bit oily, a little bit pine woody, and sitting in the back is a little note of citrus. The other thing that works really well with it, especially when it gets 1,000,000 degrees in Texas, is fizzy water.
Okay.
So you can put Topo Chico or seltzer or something with it. I like to take a cheap blended whiskey and put soda water with it, and when it's 1,000 degrees, you get a whiskey flavor, but you get this light, fresh, Madame Remy from Remy Martin, the famous maker of cognac.
Okay.
So she'll take a brandy balloon with some lovely cognac in it and put soda water in it, so she gets the taste but not the strength.
A balloon?
Well, it's just a glass that looks like it.
You look like halfway between a Shakespearean narrator and a pedophile. It's a wonderful combination. This is Junipero from California, and it's a really beautiful, modern style juniper forward gin.
Is there something particularly different than what the Americans are doing with gin?
Californian style is one where the juniper's there, but all the other flavors are a little bit more noticeable. So this is, we're building on the first one.
Okay.
Now.
Oh, sweeter still.
Sweeter still.
Ooh,
But
there's
you
a
notice
little-
at the back of the palate, We've got some of those little earthy botanicals in there.
Yeah.
Picking
Yeah,
that?
little like spicy ginger. It's kinda-
Little bit-
I like it actually.
Exactly. This is a fabulous gin.
That's not
You
bad.
can't go wrong with this in your bar because it goes well with everything.
Yeah.
This is with water.
Quite fascinating.
Ooh, I got like a little,
Like a little rose note in there.
like almost it's not pineapple, but it's threatening to be.
There is a sweeter fruit in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I want to try an Old Tom. I love how it comes in a condom. Let's just put that where people can see it. This is the Hayman's London Old Tom gin. It's quite a bit sweeter. You'll notice that an Old Tom has quite a bit more sugar in it.
Okay.
Just by the way it's made.
Like a Sprite quality on the nose.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And you know what you're picking? You're picking the citrus.
Yes.
Aren't you? Which
Yeah.
we know is
The
going to be
sugary
there.
syrup and the citrus.
That's
Yeah.
right. But almost a lemongrass quality.
Yeah.
You're picking that little.
Yeah, I
wispy-
can see how this would be really nice just on some ice.
Or make a gin and tonic out of it. I'm going to be asking you guys. Did that change your world?
Oh my God!
Is that yummy?
That's amazing!
Oh, I love it. So see how available that is?
That's wonderful.
easy drinking.
That'll
and just-
slip. This will get you in trouble.
Oh,
Yeah.
So throw a little water in there. Digging
That's
that
even
one?
more just.
In your
it
zone.
teased out a little bit more of that that mid palate body for me.
This is very approachable. And again, Old Tom is an old style, but people are making it these days because it's a very friendly gin you can
Yeah.
serve to people like our lovely little Lush here.
Yeah.
While we're in the basics, I'm going to share with you the chemistry project. This is the Empress Gin. The casual observer will notice that it's not quite clear. This is a Canadian gin, very popular in fancy cocktail bars at the
for
moment.
sure.
Definitely a purple.
Called a gentian in color.
Excellent.
Here.
You know, I was
Now-
thinking, how do I bring Brianna more into this conversation? Now,
She helps us.
how are you? You good?
How do we get her out of the conversation?
If this was just put under my nose, I wasn't looking at the color, I'd be like, obviously a gin.
What's fun and why I feel we must do a gin and tonic with this. When you add
Let's do it.
tonic water.
Don't even tell me.
to this-
Let's
Do you want
just do it. Let's just
do it now?
I know
Do
what
you
you're
want to do it
gonna
now?
say.
It's just-
No,
let's get some glasses and let's
Okay,
do a gin
let's
and
do it.
tonic.
Okay,
Let's do it.
okay.
So notice what happens when we add a little.
Ooh, it's beautiful.
Goes from a blue purple
Yeah.
to about the gayest color imaginable.
Oh my gosh, my
I
That's
just-
the
Pinky.
color of your jacket, Jeremy.
No.
You can't prepare.
Your father called this a distinguished copper color, I shall have you know. How f***ing cool are you going
That's
to be in
very
the
cool.
bar when you've
Oh,
got
yes.
the
Obligated to
butterfly-
have pinkies
No,
out.
Yes.
definitely pinkies out.
Pinkies out.
Mine won't even go down if I wanted it to.
Have a pinky boner.
We haven't had gin and tonic before, but doesn't the tonic lift this up a little bit?
Yeah.
Gosh.
So, citrus?
Yes.
On the palate, citrus is a funny thing. It's usually a stripe right down the middle of the palate.
Yeah. The thing that you have to look for the least.
Yep.
It is the most present.
It's the carpet.
and
bomb.
then just kind of floating
And all
around
those
the
little
edges.
herby,
Yes.
floral notes are off to the side.
Oh, that like fixed my posture.
This is Hendrix. It's the first of our Scottish gins.
Yes, I have had this in my house many times.
Well, this is the gin that changed the world.
How so?
And it was a completely different formulation of gin. It was not juniper forward. It was flowers forward. And this has got cucumber and rose petals and all sorts of other wonderful things in there. Now, did you try this little slutty
Not yet.
monster?
Very different.
Wildly different,
So
isn't
different.
it?
Ooh.
All sorts of funny
Ooh.
flavors in there,
Yes.
right? But it's all these beautiful flowery
Floral.
sort of
Yeah.
Sure,
things,
yeah.
which are great, good
A
fun.
lot of our community, that's the one that they typically recommend.
For somebody who's looking to taste gin, who is a whiskey person, you're going to dig that.
Yes.
That's really going to be a whiskey drinker's palate.
Absolutely.
It makes a really nice gin martini.
That's gin and vermouth. Wait, I think we have vermouth.
What?
I think we have gin.
You want
We could do a martini.
We could.
I might f this up, but I think it's 3 parts of your spirit to about 1 part of the vermouth. So now the other thing, By the way,
golden color.
It's beautiful.
it's a golden color. It's going to be delicious.
That is marvelous.
This is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
It's got this almost a cream soda character to it, which I did not expect at all.
No, and that's because we chose a vermouth with flavor.
That may be the nicest martini.
That's a good porch drink, isn't
Yeah.
it? How's this all playing out for you?
So far, I think I have preferred it when we mix it.
Well,
Gin and
most
tonic
people
and-
do, and there's a lot of people who just like gin only mixed. That's cool. It mixes really well.
The things that you told us to get, we just
Yep.
went to, I think, one store, we got almost everything.
Yeah, okay.
These are obviously easy and accessible. When it comes to gins, are there certain bottles and brands and releases, kind of like the Pappy Van Winkle, that, oh my gosh, it's so rare, it's so
there
expensive?
are certainly some. Can you spend a fortune on gin? Well, yeah, you can. We're going to have an expensive gin shortly, which comes from Germany, from the Black Forest, called Monkey 47. And that's an expensive gin, but this is super expensive gin is $80.
Oh.
In fact, it's cheaper than a bottle of Lagavulin 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking like $80 is kind of like a mid-tier
Kind of like
whiskey.
a mid-tier whiskey right now.
We keep doing episodes that make people realize whiskey's very expensive.
Speaking, since we were talking about Scotland and whiskey, this is a very good time.
Oh, yes.
The Botanist. It's a dry gin. It is made by Bruichladdich
Yes.
in Scotland.
I was in Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Islay. I was in Bruichladdich, and I was standing in front of the still that made this gin.
I realize.
Oh, she didn't go.
Yeah, I wasn't invited. Yeah.
I'm finding more juniper on this nose than I was the Hendrix.
Vulgar Juniperous communism? What does that say?
The result is a roller coaster botanical odyssey in a glass. See?
this part.
That's why you've got to have the Scots write your labels.
Yeah.
See, if an Australian wrote it, it was like, oh, it's basically bloody gin, mate.
Honestly, it's actually a bit more subtle on the nose for me than the other ones.
This is more of that pine note. This feels more classic.
Yeah, we had a little bottle of the tonic water. Now let's pop a bit in there and see whether that's working for you.
Okay.
I added a few drops of water.
No, and open it nicely.
It really opened up the sweeter elements in there.
Oh, hell yeah.
See, I think you're a gin and tonic drinker in
yeah.
your heart.
It's better than the first, but it's that classic profile.
I'm going to sully it for you.
Oh, please.
So you get a little bit of
You have one job here, Jeremy. It's to
to
sully.
slut you up.
Yeah, hussy.
All right, so we're now doing an impromptu gin and tonic.
You know, if there's one thing that Whiskey Tribe, if we could do one thing in the world, is to bring back the world hussy, they'd be like, you know what?
Oh, for heaven's sake, we live the world.
Yeah, that's our
Yes.
dent. That's our dent in the
There's
universe.
no,
that would
do
make
you
me so
remember?
happy.
It is behold the hussy.
The hussy.
That is the role we will.
Okay, this is with the.
It's a bit of tonic water. Now, we like this tonic water.
Yeah, you were very specific in asking.
I was very specific. So this is a company that's also about 20 years old. It's a bunch of grumpy English people who thought that the shitty mixers, particularly from Schweppes, were just undrinkable. And they were correct. So they started this company to make good mixers to have with drinks, particularly gin and tonic. This one I like. It's their light one because it's very stripped back. It does not add flavor to the gin except for the quinine flavor of the tonic water, which is the counterpoint to the juniper. It's perfect when you're tasting like this. It's very neutral. It's available pretty much everywhere, and it's a lovely mixer.
Oh, that's great.
All right, so where's our little butt plug? Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by NordVPN.
To walk us through NordVPN, we brought in our Chief Technology Officer.
Yes.
So you're quite the enthusiast. So whenever you when you're watching this, salacious content, you don't want people to be able to track what you're doing. You want some security. You want a little kind of privacy there.
Yeah.
So with like a NordVPN, one of the biggest things is like the threat detection, the intrusive ads, making sure you don't get like sketchy links.
Right.
That's obviously baked in. It keeps everything very secure. One account, you can use it across a lot of different devices here, and you can unlock that kind of content. You just want to see those hot.
I want to see the Harry Potter version where instead of brooms, they fly with
These platforms that have all these cool shows and series that you're not able to see, but it's only available in, let's say, I don't know, Ireland. So with the click of a button, you can virtually connect anywhere and unlock all of this cool stuff.
Potter. Hermione Ron Sleep. Professor
Door.
Draco boy.
Basically, you don't want to let other people track what you're doing online, and it's never been simpler to tighten up your security situation.
In May, every purchase of a 2-year plan will receive a huge discount plus 4 bonus months for free.
So if you're ever curious about trying out NordVPN, now is the time to do it. Link in the description down below. That's nordvpn.com/Whiskytrip.
We're going to do a weird little Japanese gin. The reason I thought this one would be fun, we've had a lot of juniper.
Yes.
We've had a lot of citrus.
Yes.
This one is herbal. Now this is going to become the devil's spittoon unless we take care fairly early.
Well, I mean, that may be the final guzzle.
Oh, no, this is not the Marines.
If only there were a hussy up.
If only there were a husky. What I love about the Japanese is their capacity for excess. You're familiar with what they have done in the world of whiskey.
Of course,
and
yes.
they have taken very interesting directions. They have done so in gin. Have a whiff of that.
This is not juniper.
Gutsy, yeah.
No.
Oh, how herby is that?
Very.
Oh, this is spice. Yeah.
Definitely spice.
And then it
and a little bit of
lands.
heat.
Oh, how did it land? Almost like a creamy vanilla.
Notice it's got a little bit of a pepper burn, a little bit of an alcohol burn. We didn't see that in a lot of the early gins.
Yeah, this is very different. I like it.
A lot of people say you gotta be careful with this one because there's a bitter note. I kind of like the bitter note.
Yeah, I was finding a little bit more of a bitter note in like the juniper forward gin.
Right.
I do like that feeling of the heat in there.
Yeah.
Almost a slight wicker quality.
Oh, interesting.
Like a rattan cane flavor.
Yeah.
1970s outdoor setting.
If the Japanese had done something that was very familiar to everything else that we had tried before, I'd be slightly
I
disappointed.
wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I would be
I wouldn't
disappointed.
recommend it. We're adding a little water.
All right.
Seeing how it breaks it open. Citrus, I'm getting lemon pith, lemon rind, little bit
Oh,
of...
lemon.
Are you getting that?
Can I admit something somewhat embarrassing?
What's that?
I should
You
not...
peed yourself, didn't you?
Well, I mean, that was
Little bit.
about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
I should not have made this assumption. But my assumption was, well, whiskey has got so much steps in the process, the aging and the wood and all the stuff, maturation, and that's the kind of complicated thing you need to add a few drops of water and then it change.
Right.
No, we're adding a few drops of water
And it's
to
like
gin.
a disruptive change.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's very obviously different.
Now, stop and notice that aftertaste for a bit. The aftertaste in this is almost the aftertaste of tonic.
I was gonna say
Isn't
the same
it?
thing, yes.
Like it's like the tonic flavor is in here. So you probably wouldn't do a gin and tonic with
Yeah.
this one because you're just reinforcing a note that's already in here.
Does.
No, you're exactly right.
All right, so give me a rinse. Douche me, baby.
I got you.
So this one has 47 botanicals in it.
That's just excessive.
47.
Yes, smell it is not. This is my favorite gin in the whole world.
What is going
This
on
is heaven.
here?
It is a gin from Germany. And for a whiskey drinker, this is the note to close on. There's so much going on here and it's all so beautiful.
Ooh, that is...
Bloody yummy.
That's going everywhere.
Do you see the rose?
Just
A
like
little bit of cucumber, violets in there.
Okay, that's the best one.
Oh, for sure.
It's-
This is fabulous.
I
gin.
will say it is definitely the most complex by a mile. Depending on where you are in your gin drinking journey and whatever, you may want something a little bit more simple and
Do a bunch of things like
yeah.
we did. Do
Yeah,
a bunch
yeah,
of things,
yeah.
and you'll find things that stand out for you. Sometimes there are flavors that are simple and pure and
Yes.
beautiful, and you just want that all the time. This one is a little complex dancing pixie.
I
Yeah.
love this. I know there's a lot of people that are going to go into this not knowing what to think, and it's more confusing than anything. It's like, I just want to watch Netflix and drink something that doesn't demand my attention.
This demands your
demands attention.
The thing to do is to learn what you like in gin.
Yeah.
Do you like the citrus flavor? Do you like the juniper flavor? Do you like the herbs? Do you like the flowers? And then go to somewhere like theginisin.com
Yes.
and type in your profile that you want on their little thing, and it will say, okay, here's 20 gins that'll get you what you want. And you'll find one of them
Yeah.
that is right in your zone.
All right, so Jeremy, there's one last thing because we're talking about earlier the overlap between the whiskey world and the gin world, and we played with a little project. We have our Apology gin, and we called it the Apology because we're sorry it's not whiskey. But then we aged it in whiskey barrels,
So you've got a bit of wood out color in it.
and then we called it You're Welcome.
We fixed it.
This was aged in a used oak barrel for 1 year and 4 months. Now, I have no expectations for you to fall in love with this because when it comes to gin, you love gin, but this threw barrel notes at it. from a whiskey perspective, I want to see what you think.
That's a whiskey
Hell yeah.
distiller making gin.
Yes, it
Actually, I
is.
fucking love it.
Yeah?
It's halfway
Yes.
between whiskey and gin.
That's what we're going for. Yeah.
You know what halfway between whiskey and gin is? Win.
Beautiful.
Now, the next thing you have to do is serve it on the upturned buttocks of someone gorgeous.
So we hardly ever get to do this, but the spirit that we just talked about, we have available, linked in the description down below. Now, we do need to take Jeremy's request seriously, though.
Right.
I think we know what's about to happen.
We?
You know what Jeremy wants it? Jeremy gets it. We're all too happy to oblige with "You're welcome, gin." The first time we put the gin in a new oak barrel, it turned out interesting. Putting it back in the same barrel turned out beautiful. Linked in the description down below. Gorgeous.